Code Geass is releasing in the English version of Union Arena. Let's look at all of the decks. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Mobby here, and today I'm going to be giving you my deck profile for this purple Code Geass deck. Make sure to like and subscribe, it really helps out the channel. I upload daily duels and deck profiles for different anime TCGs. Alright, so here we go. Just so you guys know, this is the first Code Geass deck profile on the channel. I plan on doing every color, and if the demand is there, we're also going to do each archetype of all of the colors. So let's get started, and if you guys want to see all of my deck profiles, link in the description for a playlist, or you can see just the overall image if you just, if you want something more easier to see later. So let's talk about this. This one uses specifically Kozuki Kallen as well as some support from Lelouch. So we'll talk about everything. This is the starting APs that I'm using. And the overall game plan of this deck is pretty much you want to ramp up to 5, and then there's a good amount of searching cards in here. You want to get the Gurren raid cards, and that's going to be your win condition. And you have some really good early attackers. So let's start with these Kozuki Kallen. So this is using a mix, of course, from Code Geass Set 1 from the starter deck and from the booster pack. So it's a mix of all of those. So, as mentioned, it revolves around Kozuki Kallen, the Order of the Black Knights. This is going to be your only raid source. However, there's 2 raid cards, and there's a bunch of raid sources, which is some of these. So this is a 0 cost, add to your hand, and 1500. Very, very basic as what you would see with a lot of 0 cost cards that, are raid sources, just really basic. Now, same thing. It's the exact same thing. However, this one's from the starter deck, and this one's from the booster pack. This one's pretty much better if you want to be more consistent, because if you trigger this, it gets to get added to your hand, while this one is drawing a card. But nonetheless, it is still another Kozuki Kallen, so you need a lot of these characters in order to get more raids off. So this is good too, but if you can't get your hands on these ones, definitely try to get 4 of these for sure. Next off, we have these zeros. These are Order of the Black Knights. This card is also treated as Lelouch, and this is another 1500, and add this to your hand as a trigger. We're running 2 of these, so we have a total of 10 0 costs in the deck. Now, our 0 costs in the deck, they're really weak. They all have triggers, but overall, they're just there as a stepping stone. You're not going to use them for much other than raiding or having Lelouch on the board. There are a lot of effects where a Lelouch doesn't need to be on the board, whether on the front line or the side or the energy line. You need one. So there you go. So we have a bunch of these. Next off, we have this 1-drop Kozuki Kallen. So your turn, if you have a Lelouch on your area, once again, we just talked about that, this character gains 1000. This is an extremely strong early game attacker. 1 for 3000, and really easy to get Lelouch on the board. Even though you have only 2 of these Lelouches, you have a bunch more here, so you're gonna get this off a lot. This is one of your your 4 staple colors of the deck, where when triggered you get to play purple 2 or less from the trash to your frontline in active mode. A very great ability, very great ability. So there you go. So running 4 of these. So as you can already see, we already have, along with these and these, we have 12 cards already for raid resources. Next off, we have Sumeragi Kaguya, Order of the Black Knight. So on play, you have to bounce back a 1 or less back to your hand. Otherwise, you return this back to your hand. So this is obviously not an attacker. Doesn't have a trigger, but the important thing is that it has extra energy resources in a deck where you have pretty much every single deck should have a couple of +2 energy resources, skewing more if you have higher cost characters. The highest cost character in this deck is a 5, so we are running a couple of these, just 2 of these Sumeragis, but then we have a good amount of other ones. So this is just a really nice card. I always like to have at least 2 to 4, depending on, once again, how high your curve goes in terms of your character cost. So we're running 2 of these. Next off, we have these Order of the Black Knights. I'm running these as a tech choice because it's a really decent sort of event card. So Order of the Black Knights, look at the top 3, then you grab 2 cards that is Order of the Black Knights and put it to your hand. You also have the trigger of drawing a card. So almost everything in this deck besides your raid cards are Order of the Black Knight. So if you have a lot of, for example, Kozukis, you need some Lelouches. If you have a lot of Lelouches, you grab the Kozukis. If you have all of them, grab support cards like this. It's pretty simple, and this is a really good card, so we're running 2 of these. It's a good event. Next off, we have our Lelouch, our first Lelouch, or was this one Lelouch? Who knows? Okay, so this is a 2 cost. So on play, you choose a character on their front line, -1000 for the turn. You're usually not going to be KOing with this. You can combo with this 2 KO, but usually it's just here as an early game attacker, as well as having a Lelouch on the field for more effects, just like this Kozuki Kallen. And the effect, triggers draw. So it's a decent card. It's a promo version as well. So there you go. Running 2 of these. So these are only 2 costs of the deck. Now moving on to 3, we have yet another Kozuki Kallen. This is from the starter deck. So Order of the Black Knight, so searchable, and it's a resource. It's a source for raiding. This does nothing special. However, it is a 2 energy line. Active 3000, you always love to see the active 3000 trigger. So this is going to stay in your backline for the most part. At the very beginning of the game, you're going to have these zeros in the backline. You're going to have these Kozukis, and if you have this, you definitely want to move these to the front line when you can, and then you want to add this to the backline. And you usually want to keep these in the backline because, once again, the energy is really good, and it's a good raid source for if you get attacked and you get to activate that trigger. So it's a good card, really, really good card. So we're running 4 of these. Next, it's another Kozuki Kallen. Yeah, there is a lot, guys. There's a lot of Kozukis. So Order of the Black Knight. On play, look at the top 5. We'll grab 1 card with Gurren in its name. So we have some searching cards already. We have the what are they at? Blah, blah. We have these ones here, which searches for Order of the Black Knights, and then these ones, which searches for Gurrens, which is your 5 cost raid sources. So this deck is really consistent with getting her in her sort of mech, right? It's really good. The effect is drawing a card. This is another card where you want to pretty much put in the back line because you want to raid on it anyway. This one's like extremely good. Like the attack is 3000. The energy's +2. You have a lot of ways to play this card. Really good. This one though, God, it's like almost like a win condition because it allows you to grab your raid cards as much as you can. It's a good card. Next off, we have Lelouch. Another Lelouch, Order of the Black Knights. On play, choose a character on the field, and this one cannot be blocked by 2000 or less for this turn. It's not going to go off that often, but it's in the deck because the active's good, the attack is good, and also this is 2. So this is going to be your upgrade from the Lelouches in the backline. You are most likely going to keep this in the backline at all times, and only moving it up when you need to for block purposes or to finish the game off with an extra attacker. But this is going to be your staple in the backline in order to activate some on plays, which Lelouch needs to be on the field for. So we're running 2 of these. Next off, we have United States of Japan. This is going to be your 4 finals of the deck. Nothing special. Choose 2 AP cards and make them active. Final, if this is the last card for triggering, you can go ahead and heal 1. So there you go. Nothing crazy there. Next off, we have yet another Lelouch. So just like these, just like the other Lelouches, these are 3. This is a 4 that is also going to be primarily only in the back line. This is another one. However, this one's 2 actions, so you have to keep this in mind. It's a big cost for a person in the energy line. However, the effect is good. Choose an opponent's front line, reduce it by 3000. So this is going to KO a lot of early to mid game cards that your opponent plays, as well as giving you some really strong energy. You just remember have to play around the 2 action, which is kind of tough to do. Now, you also have this Geass of Absolute Obedience, and this is really tough to play with this one and this one. You really have to manage your action points because this is also 2 actions. However, if there's a Lelouch on the field, you can reactivate this, but you have to, you have to really mess with your orders. You have to think in advance, oh, do I need to specifically draw a card this turn for the extra action? Do I have some extra AP activations, etc.? But yeah, choose 1 frontline 5000 lower and retire it. So this is, I mean, if you just for some reason don't have Lelouches on the field, you can KO somebody really easily, but you definitely need the Lelouch to get the extra AP back. But like I said, you have a lot of Lelouches that's going to stay in the backline for the most part. You should be able to use this no matter what. Then the special is choose a frontline character and retire it. So those are your 4s of the deck. Now, time for your late game cards. This is Gurren Mark II. This is your win conditions. And remember, you have good attackers to lead you there. These attackers are really basic. They don't have a lot of like special, you know, on attack. They don't have double block. They don't have impact. They're here just to really make it so you can search and have really consistent outcomes in order to use these 2 last cards here. So, as mentioned, Gurren Mark II. This is a card that can be searched with the Kallen here, the one that searches. So, raid on Kallen only. On play, if you have a Lelouch on the field, which you should at this point, this character gains, your opponent must block if possible and impact for the turn. So it's almost like a semi-snipe, except your opponent gets to choose which one they have to sacrifice on the field in order to get this. So really strong card. This is from, of course, the sets, while the other one is going to be coming from the starter deck. But this is a great card. The only thing is, after the turn, it's basically just a 4,000 and does nothing. But the fact that it's a impact and a pseudo snipe, it's amazing. It's a really good card. You're gonna hopefully grab any of these that you can. Now for the last card of the deck, it's another Gurren Mark II, which is searchable by the other Kozuge Kallen from the starter deck as well. Rating only on Kallen. Choose one of your opponent's frontline and with 3,000 less and retire it. During this turn, this character gains impact, so it doesn't have the crazy sniping that this does, but if you know, once again, you can KO a lot of 3,000s, and if you do end up playing it, for example, with this Lelouch or this other one here, you're gonna be able, not this one, that Lelouch or this one, you can lower it by 1,000 and KOing the usual strong 4,000s on the board. So this is actually a pretty good combo. Lelouch and then boom into the Gurren Mark II from the starter deck. And of course, both of them, I didn't mention it, but both of them are, you know, well, this one in particular is raid. If you have the energy, this one's adding to your hand. So this one's a strong ability because you get a body rush, you get to knock somebody out, you impact it, but it's really weak because you have to only add it to your hand, which sucks. But this one is at least a raid. All right, guys, so that is the current Kozuge Kallen, or was it Kozuge Kallen Purple Code Geass deck that I am running. I've played a couple of matches with this already, and it's one of, you know, it's a pretty fun deck. It's really consistent, as mentioned. You have a lot of really strong 3,000 characters, a good amount of searchers. It's just a nice, good and balanced deck, easy play style as well. If you want to play any sort of Code Geass and you're thinking you don't want to think too hard, this one's pretty good. As mentioned, just a slow ramp up to your 5 drops and then you go crazy for it. And also the APs are nice for some reason. Why are they nice? I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. Watch the duels that we have upcoming and my other Union Arena video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.